G'day everybody, it's Master Yodi here and hope you guys are all doing well. Title of today's video, it's going to be another reaction video. It's a reaction video to a video made by Dr. Rubber Glove. Oops, sorry, I meant Dr. Glover. And I must thank YouTube user Man Overboard, who I know personally. Actually, we're both from Sydney and I know him personally. He's been a good close personal friend for many years now. He's a terrific guy. Um, and what I'll do is I'll provide a link to his channel. Please watch his reaction video. He's also done a reaction video to Dr. Rubber Glove. Sorry, Dr. Glover. So please check it. Please check his video out and his reaction video, and check out his channel. He's got a great channel there. So yes, if Man Overboard, if you're watching this, thank you very much for that suggestion. I really do appreciate it. Also, Big T TV82, he's also done a reaction video to Dr. Glover. So, and I'll provide links for that as well. So please check out those videos, those reaction videos. They're really good videos. They gave Dr. Glover a good roasting, and now it's my turn. So thank you, Man Overboard, for the topic suggestion. I do appreciate it. What I'll do is I'll go for the video, pause it, and give my commentary. So without further ado, let's rock and roll.
I've known good-looking guys that couldn't get a date and couldn't get laid. I've known guys with money that couldn't get a date and couldn't get laid. I've known guys with status that couldn't get a date and couldn't get laid.
Bullshit. The three types of guys he's mentioned, they've got the three things that women want: LMS, looks, money, and status. Now, look, on the looks thing, even if you're a super good-looking guy, if you've got severe mental issues or Asperger's, yeah, that's going to make dating hard. But how many good-looking guys have that problem? No, most good-looking guys, they don't have any mental issues or Asperger's or anything like that. And those guys are absolutely killing it when it comes to dating and hooking up. Those guys have no problems at all getting laid or getting dates. All a good-looking guy or a Chad has got to do, put himself out there. Women give him the choosing signals, and the rest is history. Or if he goes on a dating site, he'll find a woman that way. But regardless, I mean, dating for those Chads, for Chads and Tyrones, it's easy. For guys with money and status, yeah, what's going to be easy for them to get laid and get dates, particularly if you've got status. Look, as much as I'm BP'd about the importance of looks, if you have a lot of status, yeah. And once again, I'll use Gene Simmons, the bass player for Kiss as an example. No homo, he's not the best looking guy in the world, but look who he is. He's a successful musician of a very successful rock band. It's been reported that he slept up to 4,000 women. I'd believe it. Yeah, all those groupies attending Kiss concerts, and they'd be attracted to him because of his status. So, no, if you've got LMS, you're not going to have any problem getting date and getting laid. So I don't know what this Dr. Glover's trying to say here.
And I've known short guys, broke guys, and guys with little dicks who are chick magnets.
Oh, bullshit. Look, the only broke guys who are chick magnets, you got to have like a good, a broke but good-looking guy. Yeah, a guy like that, he'll get hookups and casual flings here and there, but you won't be able to keep that woman in a relationship because you won't be able to support that woman's lifestyle or support that woman. I'll give you a classic example. Well, actually, Man Overboard, my friend that recommended me the topic suggestion for this video, he knows a guy. I'm not sure if he's still friends with him. This guy is, I suppose you call him a Chad light, but he's chronically unemployed. Like, he's been unemployed for decades. He lives off welfare, and because of his looks, he gets lots of women, but just for hookups. When these women realise that this guy's a bum, a no-hoper, they dump him because he can't support them. So now, the only broke guys that are doing well with the ladies are good-looking broke guys, but those broke, good-looking guys will not be able to keep a relationship. I mean, yeah, they'll have hookups, but not relationships because they can't support the woman. So as for short guys, look, I resent that. He's basically humiliating short guys. No, sure. Sorry, what I meant to say was Short guys aren't chick magnets, unless he's a very good-looking short guy. You know, he might be 5'8" or 5'9" or 5'7", but he's got a face like Brad Pitt. Yeah, those short guys will do okay. But if you're short and unattractive, forget about it. You're not a chick magnet. You're a chick repellent. And as for guys with small thingos, or women's not gonna know how big your private parts are, unless she sees you naked with an erection.
What's the difference? What's happening there? So if they were all trading up, they'd be all trading up. And I think the whole hypergamy thing is just, guys' excuse for saying, yeah, she left me because she's hypergamous and left me for this other guy.
Look, hypergamy is a real thing. It's a real thing. I don't know why this Dr. Glover is dismissing that. Women want to trade up. And look, I'm not hating on women because of that. It's in their nature to trade up to try and date or marry the best looking, wealthiest guy. It's just in their nature. And yeah, I mean, female hypergamy, it's been. I personally, I think it's probably been gone since the dawn of time. Women have always wanted to trade up. It's just female nature, and once again, not hating on it.
Well, maybe you were on your phone all the time. Maybe you're on the internet all the time. Maybe you never paid any attention to her. Maybe you're shitty in bed, but it's their fault because they're.
I resent that. Basically, what Dr. Glover's doing, he's always blaming the man. It's always the man's fault. It's always the man's fault. As we go throughout this video, I've come to the conclusion that Dr. Glover is three things. He's a simp, he's a mangina, and he's a male feminist. And he's also a white knight as well. So let me add that in there as well. Because all this guy does, he puts women on a pedestal, makes out that these perfect little angels, and they're not. They got faults as well, just like men do. But he makes out that women are these perfect little angels that can do nothing wrong. And as a man, if you're struggling to get into a relationship or struggling to keep a relationship, it's all your fault. You're to blame. I'm not going to cuss out Dr. Glover because I don't want to get in trouble with you two. But all I can say to Dr. Glover, you're a dickhead, mate. You are an you're a flog. You're a muppet. You're an idiot. It's not always the man's fault. Absolutely not. And he said, maybe the guy's shitty in bed. How would you know? How would you know? Were you there watching him make love to his wife or his girlfriend for you to say that? Maybe the woman was shitty in bed. Can't always blame the man.
Hypergamous. And I just have never really bought into the whole hypergamy thing.
Well, you better, mate, because it's real. It's not some tinfoil hat conspiracy theory. Hypergamy is real, and it's been going on forever. The only reason we know about it now is because of the internet, but it's always been a thing.
Most of you guys know me pretty well, and I think this is a fairly fairly accurate self-assessment, but I honestly feel like I'm fairly widely loved.
No, that's debatable, mate. I've only listened to you for a couple of minutes and I already hate you. No, well, it's your opinion, mate, but you're wrong. No, you're not loved.
I go places and people love me. People like me. I hang out with you guys. I feel loved. So I am fairly widely loved. And even though I, cover and talk about a lot of different subjects, in general, I don't stir up all that much controversy. Now, I'm not superstitious, so I won't knock on wood or anything like that. But, nobody's ever tried to cancel me. Nobody's ever done, some kind of attack on me. Maybe that stuff will come at some point in life, but so far, I haven't rocked that many boats, which kind of surprises me because I think sometimes I do say stuff and talk about stuff that I go, ooh, that could get me in trouble. But so far, no big crises. Now, with that said, there are two things I've found that if I bring up either of these two subjects, I can get men kind of pissed at me.
Well, if you will, you will if you say the wrong thing, or if you demonize and shame men. Yeah, of course. If you got to insult people and disrespect them, they're going to get pissed off. What did you expect was going to happen?
I can get men kind of testy. I can get men kind of up in arms, like, what the fuck? Right? And one of them, we kind of dove into it a little bit last week on that call when we were talking about first order change and second order change. And that is attachment to outcome. Now, I've been teaching concept of attachment to outcome for quite some time, and I didn't make it up. And Buddha didn't make it up. Jesus didn't make it up. It's just truth, right? That if you get emotionally attached to specific outcomes, you're probably highly likely going to suffer in some way.
Of course you do. Of course you've got an emotional attachment to outcome, particularly, for example, you're trying to date or court a young woman. You're trying to, date a woman that you're interested in. If she rejects you, well, yeah, you're going to feel pain. You're going to feel the pain of rejection. But of course, you've got an emotional attachment to an outcome of any endeavor that you may attempt. That's just normal. And it's like, well, here's another example. Say you're out to play in the grand final of a sporting match. You've got an emotional attachment to the outcome of that. And if you lose, yeah, it's going to hurt. If you win, you're going to be happy. But the bottom line is, whatever endeavor that you attempt, you're going to have an emotional attachment to it, and that's perfectly normal. That's perfect. It's just called being human.
Now, I didn't make that up. I found it to be true. And I've also found that, I'm really okay with having some strong attachments that I know are going to make me suffer. But I'm okay with the suffering, right? I'm not going to be going, why am I suffering? I shouldn't be suffering. I'm okay with it. But when I talk to men about, hey, if you get attached to outcome, you're going to suffer. It's like, well, what do you mean? Are you saying I just shouldn't care? Why would I get out of bed in the morning if I didn't have attachments? Why would I talk to that woman if I didn't have attachments? Like, wait. I'm not trying to punish you. I'm not trying to, restrict you in any way. I'm just saying it's human nature to get attached to outcomes, especially get emotionally attached to very specific outcomes.
Of course you do. Once again, that's just a perfectly natural human reaction. Look, as much as people want to deny it, you do have an emotional attachment to an outcome. Many years ago, I was debating this PUA fanboy and complete total coper. He goes, "Oh, look, if I don't care what women think of me. I don't care what, I don't care about the outcome, mate. You do, right? That's And what do you say? Oh, when I stopped caring, I started getting results. That's bullshit and cope. When you're interacting with a woman that you have an interest in, you do care what she thinks of you. What a dumb thing to say that you don't care. Of course you bloody care. And you also have an emotional attachment to that outcome. I'm sorry, you do. You can deny it till you go black and blue in the face, but you do. You have an emotional attachment to that outcome. And if that outcome doesn't go your way, it's going to cause pain.
And that tends to make us suffer. And again, I didn't make it up. Right. So we kind of went into a little bit of that last week. And even in some of my pep forums I've been teaching, that's come up a little bit around this whole attachment to outcome. And we've had some discussions around that in my pet masters. Now, there's a second thing that I can really get some guys up in arms about. And we're going to talk about that on this call. And I'll just to give you a little teaser about it. Is when I encourage men to walk through open doors of opportunities rather than pound on closed, locked doors, they get mad at me, especially in the area of dating.
Well, how can you go through an open door if the damn thing gets shut in your face? If you make the rather foolish decision of cold approaching a woman that you're attracted to, you're not going to be walking for an open door, mate. Yeah, that door's going to be shut firmly into your face. And I speak from personal experience. I mean, as I mentioned in many of my previous videos, most of my rejections were body language ones. It didn't even get to the stage for me to ask the woman, for her to say no. I already knew. Back turns, the silent trim, back turns, the silent trim with dirty looks. Yeah. So I try to walk through the door, and it was slammed firmly in my face.
Well, I want to talk to that pretty woman. She's hot. I think she'd make a good girlfriend. I think she'd be great in bed. I think she'd be a boost to my ego. I can't get turned on unless I'm attracted to her. Why would I walk through an open door if it's an old fat woman? Yeah, these are the two things I tend to piss men off about. And again, I didn't make this shit up either. Okay, it's just like, okay, it just is what it is. So we're going to get into those weeds in just a few minutes. Okay, let's talk a little bit about PET, and then we'll come back around to that. I've been teaching positive emotional tension for over 15 years. I've had an online course about it for several years.
It was positive emotional tension. Is this more PUA cope than psychobabble? Don't know if you recall my previous chat. I was doing a reaction video to a Russian PUA, and he came up with this ridiculous thing. What do you call it? Oh, it's not your looks that's getting you rejected by women. You don't have the right default emotional state. You remember that nonsense and cope? Yeah, I think Dr. Glover's about to go on with a similar sort of thing. What do you call it? PET, or positive emotional tension. Look, as we all know, the main premise of PUA bullshit, and it is bullshit, is that if you can somehow press the right emotional buttons or pull the right emotional levers on a particular woman, that will get her to overcome your physical shortcomings and will get her attracted to you and eventually get her to sleep with you. It doesn't work. There's got to be physical attraction. I'm sorry, there's no way around it. If you do not pass that looks test with a woman, game over. You're done. She's going to reject you, and which she's perfectly entitled to do. Yes, it's just, I think all these silly terms, positive emotional tension, and what was that thing I said before, default emotional state, and all this other PUA psychobabble. Yeah, it's just, I think he's just playing mind games with women, but that doesn't work either. It's just PUA cope and nonsense.
Turned it from a written course into a video course. As I said, I'm writing the book. I'm leading 2 PET programs right now, and I'm having so much fun with it. Henrik even made a comment the other day in a business meeting that
I'm not sure if this guy's a PUA or a dating broach. When I looked on his channel, he does provide links to certain PUA products, so I think it's probably maybe a bit of both a PUA and a dating broach. And as per rule number 1 of the 48 laws of dating, written by Richard Wallace, law number 1: never trust a dating coach.
Says, I think Dr. Glover's teachings around PET are now more popular and in demand than his teachings in the book No More Mr. Nice Guy. I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not, but I do know I'm having a good time with it, and I'm having fun. We're having so much fun that when we started planning InCon 27, my whole team said, Robert, you're writing the book about PET. Why don't we just make all of InCon 27 about positive emotional tension? I go, okay, why not? Talk me into it. So we're going to really do some fun deep dives at InCon. Okay, basic premise of what I call PET, positive emotional tension, is that women have to experience emotional tension for attraction, arousal, and attachment towards a man.
No. Women have to experience physical attraction for attraction to. They've got to be attracted to you. They've got to like what they see. Once again, he's going on with this PUA nonsense. Look, PUAs are right in the sense that women tend to be more emotional men. They're definitely right there. But they're also just as visual as what men are. I mean, the PUAs will deny that. But they're also just as visual. In fact, women actually are more visual than men, and for good scientific reasons. Once again, women want the best genetics to pass on to any offspring they may have with a particular man. But once again, Dr. Glover's going on with this PUA psychobabble. No, for a woman to feel attracted to you, she has to like what she sees. And the only emotion you're going to elicit from a woman, particularly if she doesn't find you physically attractive, is that of disgust and repulsion. You're not going to trigger attraction in that woman. The only emotion you're going to elicit from a woman, particularly if you're a physically unattractive man, is that of disgust and repulsion. Definitely not attraction.
They got to feel something strong. And it's in the form of tension. We might call it butterflies, arousal, a tingling down there.
Yeah, and what's going to cause a woman to feel tingling down below? When she sees a Chad. When she sees a Chad, when she's a good-looking bloke, that gives her the tingles. Not seeing an ugly guy. When a woman sees an ugly guy, her down below dries up quicker than a rain. You know, an unattractive man makes a woman's, dry up quicker than the desert. It makes her. Sorry, be careful what I say. It makes a woman's private parts as wet as the desert, as wet as the Sahara Desert. Good-looking guys, sorry, ugly-looking guys do not give women the tingles. Definitely not. They dry up a woman's, yeah, very, very quickly. If a woman wants the only thing that's going to give a woman the tingles is a good-looking dude. I'm sorry, not this PUA cope.
But women have to feel tension. And it's not just the moment they see a man, maybe fall in love with him, or on a first date or two. Women have to experience emotional tension throughout the duration of a relationship with a man in order to stay attracted to him, stay aroused by him, and stay attached to him over time.
So what you're saying is if you want to keep a relationship, you've got to play mind games with your wife or your girlfriend. Screw that. Men want peace. If they're going to have a relationship or they're going to marry a woman, they want peace. They don't want chaos. They don't have to play stupid mind games with women to keep them. If that's what it takes to get into a relationship and keep one, stuff it. I'll stay single and equal. I'm going to anyway, whether I like it or not. But even if I get into a relationship, if I've got to do all this crap, forget about it. I'll just stay single. And it's not hard to see why an increasing number of men are giving up on dating. And once again, that's a personal decision, but I don't blame them. There's just too many head games you got to play with women, and you can never make them happy, and they're just not worth it. They're just ain't worth the squeeze. So I don't blame a lot of guys for giving up on dating. If they've got to put up with all this drama and crap, forget about it. And this is one reason women like the bad boys because of the drama and chaos. Because the problem with a lot of them, not saying all of them, there's some good, sensible, mature women out there, but there's a lot of immature ones out there. And the immature ones who like these bad boy types, the reason why they're attracted to these bad boys is all the drama and chaos. Because the problem with a lot of some of these immature women, they're basically adult children in the sense that yes, the woman has a body of an adult, but she's got the maturity level of a toddler. Now, I take that back. I've met toddlers who are more mature than some women. And what characterizes immature behavior? Boredom. What do little kids do when they get bored? They misbehave so they entertain themselves. That's what these immature women who date these bad boys. That's why they're attracted to them because of all the chaos they bring. Because it entertains the woman. Us guys, if we get bored, we take up hobbies. But I don't know, some of these women, they need to take up hobbies if they get bored. But no, they want their bad boy, dickhead boyfriend or husband to provide them that entertainment. But anyway, let's carry on.
Now, as most of you know personally, and have probably heard me teach it, the problem here is that we men don't tend to really like emotional tension.
No, men don't want that sort of crap. They don't want chaos and drama. They just want peace. That's why a lot of guys now are either going MGTOW, like men going their own way, or in my case, I'll set my own way. I didn't have a choice. But either way, that's why a lot of men are just dropping out of dating, or they're giving up on it because of all this nonsense.
Our sporting events have a clock on them. Our movies that have tension have a clock on them. If the tension runs more than about 2 hours, that's about the limit of the average guy. A 2-hour sporting event, a 2-hour, action flick. We can't handle it. Oh, no, I gotta leave. I gotta go do something else. And so here we are with women needing some form of emotional tension to stay connected to a man, aroused by him, attracted to him over time. Some degree of it, like almost constantly.
Look, my late father, may he rest in peace, back in the early 1980s when I was old, would have been a teenager, he gave me this piece of advice regarding women. He goes, son, no matter what you do for a woman or how well you do it, they're never happy. And he's right. Once again, I'll cite some very high-profile examples. Tom Brady, for example, the NFL star from America. He have a guy, no homo here. The guy's a Chad or Giga Chad. 6'4", ripped, super rich, super successful, and he couldn't keep his wife happy. He's well now ex-wife. She cheated on him. That's Tom Brady. Now you think, why would his wife cheat on a guy like that? He's got everything. He's got looks, money, status, tons and tons of it. He couldn't keep his woman happy. The actor Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Obviously with his wealth as a successful Hollywood actor, he couldn't keep her happy. But I think Amber Heard had a few missing screws, if you know what I mean. But he couldn't keep her happy. Who else? I mean, even Brad Pitt's had some of his wives cheat on him. Years ago, there was there's a former Brazilian soccer star named Kaká. Once again, no homo. He's a tall. I think he's about 6'1", 6'2", in good shape, pretty good looking dude. Obviously made a lot of money from playing professional soccer, and his ex-wife, and she left him. And you know what her reason was? Oh, he's too perfect. Like, what's that supposed to mean? I mean, obviously being a wealthy former soccer player, he would have been able to provide his ex-wife with a great lifestyle. He treated her well, and she still wasn't happy. So no matter how good looking or rich or successful you are, women, you'll never please a woman. They're never happy. And what did I see the other day? Yeah, there was some fitness influencer, there was a bodybuilder, quite a wealthy guy, quite a successful guy. He bought his girlfriend a brand new Bentley. I think he paid $300,000 for it, for a new Bentley. Do you think she appreciated it? No, she complained about the color. I mean, how unappreciative can you be? The guy's just bought you a Bentley, a brand new car, a very expensive new car. And she didn't appreciate it. But the guy was being a simp. And that's one thing with simps. I don't mean to get off topic here, but that's one thing that really annoys me about simps. Look, you can't buy a woman's love. She either respects you or she doesn't. But a mistake a lot of simps make is they think they can buy their way into a woman's heart. You can't. You can spend all the money in the world on them, and they still won't be happy. Anyway, let's carry on.
And we men are going, what the fuck? Enough. Just have a nice, cool, calm, smooth, everything's fixed, stays fixed, never have a bump in the road kind of relationship.
Once again, men want peace. They don't want chaos. Look, even in the happiest lifelong relationships and marriages, there's going to be ups and downs. Look, you're not going to have a perfect life. That's just Hollywood bullshit. Okay, even couples have been married for 50, 60 years until death do them part. They would have had challenges in that relationship, ups and downs. But fortunately, the man and the woman, they sorted them out. Not these days. I mean, people get married today, and there's one little problem, and they have bang, let's get divorced. But for those. But even the happiest marriage or relationship is going to have its ups and downs. We don't live in a perfect world, far from it. But no, the bottom line is men want peace. They don't want chaos. What sane, rational man would want that? No, thanks.
And so we fail to create the kind of emotional tension that attracts women and turns them on. If they do,
No, that creating emotional tension doesn't turn women. Your looks turns them on. So as a man, if you want to prove your chance for the ladies, you need to get your LMS up, particularly your looks, but also your money and your status. But if you want to get genuine attraction from women, you've got to looks max.
do create it, we do our best to put it out, and then we wonder why we can't get a girlfriend, why we can't get laid.
Okay, I resent that. I could cuss out Dr. Glover, but I don't want to get in the strife with YouTube. I resent that. In fact, I find that comment extremely offensive. He's basically blaming short, unattractive guys, or just physically unattractive guys in general, for something that's not their fault and out of their control. I wanted a girlfriend, a girlfriend or a wife. I wanted a find a woman to settle down with and live the rest of my life with. And I approached women. I mean, not a lot compared to some other guys, but I got rejected because of my looks. Okay, tough luck. I'm not angry at the women for rejecting me. At the end of the day, they're just acting on their biology. I tried to find a girlfriend, but I just got rejected so many times. I suffered from rejection fatigue, and in order to preserve my mental health, I said, "No, I'm over this." But not just me. An increasing percentage of men are giving up on dating, and once again, that's a personal choice. I don't blame them. You cop all that rejection, regardless of how well you're presenting yourself. No, at the end of the day, you've got to look after your mental health. You really do. And if that means you're going to be an equal for the rest of your life, hey, so be it. Um, but I resent how Dr. Glover is shaming particularly short, unattractive men, or short and or unattractive men for something that's not their fault and completely out of their control. There's not much I can do if a woman rejects me and says no. When a woman says no, she means no. There's no grey area or ambiguity in that word. She means no, and you have to respect that. So I resent what Dr. Glover just said. And this is a common theme amongst PUAs and dating broaches. They like to they like to blame their students rather than the useless nature of their material. The PUA say, "No, it's all your fault, man. It's not your looks, man. It's not your looks. You don't have enough game," as if that exists. Well, we all know that doesn't. Game means nothing. You don't have enough confidence, or you didn't approach her at exactly 45-degree angle. You didn't do enough push pull. You didn't do enough negging and all the other bullshit that PUAs come out with. You weren't able to press the right emotional buttons on a woman. Look, the bottom line is, if a woman doesn't find you physically attractive, it doesn't matter what comes out of your mouth. You're done. You're rejected. Gone. And I'm deeply insulted and I just found what Dr. Glover said extremely offensive. But once again, I'm not going to cuss the guy out. But I'm extremely angry with that. That's why us men in the BP and Incorp community, that's why we hate you guys. We hate you guys with a passion. You pretend that you want to help us, you want to help men get better. No, you don't. The only thing you want to do is take their money. You prey on vulnerable, unfortunate men. Shame on you, Dr. Glover, and shame on every other PUA and dating roach. You're grifters and scammers. But unfortunately, a lot of men fall for this garbage.
Why we have a dead bedroom? Why our woman's always picking at us?
Oh, okay, on the dead bedroom thing, once again, he's blaming men. He's saying it's a man's fault. No, not the man's fault. In a lot of cases, I'll tell you why there's a lot of dead bedroom marriages out there, because the men that were unfortunate enough to be in that situation, these men were settled for, right? Because as we all know, the modern woman has a dual mating strategy. When she's in her prime, like in her 20s, when she should be having kids, and when it's safer for her kids, she's out banging all the alphas, the Chads and Tyrones. Said woman then hits her late 20s, early 30s, and she goes, "Oh shit, I want to have a baby." Now she can't get Chad or Tyrone to commit to the guy that she's actually attracted to, so she has to settle for the beta provider. The guy, the nice guy, the guy that she rejected in her prime. So these beta guys, these beta bucks guys, they're being settled for, and they end up in a dead bedroom marriage because these women were never attracted to these guys in the first place. That's where the dead bedroom marriage comes from. And Dr. Glover, he's blaming these guys. Look, once again, obviously a woman has the right to refuse bedroom fun at any time, and and that always must be respected. You never ever force yourself upon a woman. Never, no way. If you do something as horrible as that, it carries some serious jail time. Apart from a horrible thing to do to a woman. But no, obviously, woman has the right to refuse bedroom fun at any time. But at the same time, too, married women can't complain if their sex-starved husband either runs off with another, has an affair with a woman, or he pays to play. But once again, I resent how Dr. Glover blames men for that. Now, it's all your fault. That's the whole theme of this video. The whole theme of this Dr. Glover. It's always the man's fault. It's always the man's fault. It's always your fault. No, women never to blame. Oh, no, women are they're these perfect little angels, can do no wrong. No, sorry, mate, they can do wrong, just like men can. No one's perfect, okay? End of the day, we're all sinners, men and women. Yeah, but I resent how Dr. Glover by default just blames men. Yeah.
nagging at us, criticizing, complaining us about us, why she never is turned on anymore. And
Because she wasn't attracted to you in the first place. Like I said before, a lot of women marry the reliable beta provider, and they want it. And that these reliable beta providers was not the woman's first pick. Chad was. So these beta guys are being settled for. That's why they're in dead bedroom marriage. That's why they're not attracted to them anymore, or they probably never attracted to them in the first place.
I mean, it can be a number of factors. I'm a marriage and family therapist by training. So,
Oh God. I pity the people who pay this guy money. Oh, gee.
I mean, there are many different threads and you can pull of why these things might be. But one of the core ones I found is pet. It's pet. When a man understands a woman's need for emotional attention, pet or net, positive or negative, the woman doesn't care. We do, but they don't. When we understand that need, we now can begin to live in such a way, interact with women in such a way to make us more attractive, to keep us more attractive long.
It's not going to make you more attractive to a woman. What, playing mind games with them? Or what do you call it? Positive emotional tension? What's that mean? It means nothing. The only way you're going to make yourself more attractive to women is to improve your LMS, but more so your L. You have to improve your looks, money, and status. That's the only way you're going to attract women. Even then, there's no guarantee she's going to hang around. Look at the examples I gave you. Tom Brady. Yeah, he's got LMS. He's got tons of it. Couldn't keep his woman faithful. Brad Pitt. He's got tons of LMS. Didn't stop some of his former wives cheating on him. Didn't stop Johnny Depp's wife Amber Heard from leaving him. Not that it was his fault. I mean, I think we all know Amber Heard's got a few missing screws. So yes, it doesn't matter what you do as a guy. If your woman's going to leave you, she's going to leave you. And if you're in a constant battle to keep your woman attracted to you, it's just not worth it. A woman either respects you or she doesn't.
Term in a relationship and give a gift to women. Now, I have to continuously stress to men because we want to turn pet into a bunch of techniques and to get women to do what we want them to do. And I say pet, the way I teach it, boils down to two things. It's a gift to women, a gift to the world, and is powerful masculine initiation. Why? Because us learning to tussle and stay connected with and lead and create the container for the feminine is it's a challenge.
So in other words, you got to play mind games with women. Nah, screw that. Screw that. And he's once again, he's just pushing PUA bullshit. The premise that if you can somehow press the right emotional buttons on a woman, that'll get her attracted to you and keep her attracted to you. It won't. It won't do a bloody thing. It's these PUAs, they just seriously, you can't make this shit up. They're pulling this stuff out of their ass. It has to be.
That's why it's powerful masculine initiation. Because one of the things I said, I use the illustration of my dog Nala. She is born and bred to tussle.
He's going to talk about his dog now. Sorry about this, guys.
She loves to tussle. She'll get a toy. She'll get a rope. She'll come bump you in. I'm the one that tussles with her the most, so I'm the one she usually bumps in the leg with. All right, tussle with me. And I can tussle with her. And it doesn't matter how long I tussle with her. It's never enough. She's never done. I cannot out-tussle that dog. That's also true with the feminine. The feminine loves to tussle. And it's just what they're born and bred to do. And we're born and bred to fix everything and get everything back to good. Keep everything calm and smooth and running the way it's supposed to. We're really not born and bred to tussle.
Once again, men in a relationship or a marriage, they just want peace and tranquility. If as a man, if you're dating or married to a woman that's just causing you nothing but grief, I'd say get out of that relationship as soon as you can. You want a woman to bring peace to your life, peace and content, but not drama and chaos.
Yeah, maybe again in little ways, but not when it comes to relationship. Okay. So as I said, the fun part I'm having with writing the pet book is just the way the muse is having her way with me. And like I said, I've been getting up writing and just getting into the weeds. And I finished a chapter a couple weeks ago where the muse said, write this. And I go, okay. And I thought, oh, okay, this is kind of interesting. But it's around attraction. Now, if you get on the internet, it's not hard to find people talking about attraction. And there's, all these different theories and slots. Red pill will tell you it's all about hypergamy.
Yep, and they're right. The RP is definitely right about that. Even us men in the BP community, we agree with that. Yep. No. And look, once again, I'm not hating on women for being hypergamous. It's just in their nature. If they can trade up, they will. I mean, and look, even as men, if you could trade up, if you could get a better looking woman or a nicer car or a bigger house or a pay rise in your job or more money, of course you'd want to trade up if you can. And yeah, and look with women, yeah, they hypergamous. They've probably been like that since the dawn of time. And you know what? I'm not hating on women to that. If they want to trade up, they can trade up.
That women are evolutionary wired to keep trading up to the best man that they can find.
That's right. That's a fact. And once again, not hating on women, that's just their nature. I mean, for example, with me, I don't, I definitely don't hate on women for rejecting me. No, absolutely not. Unfortunately, my genetics are subpar, and that no one wants to replicate with that. You know what? And me getting angry at women for rejecting me, which I'm not, absolutely not. No, absolutely not. It would be akin to a zebra getting the shits with a lion because a lion wants to eat it. Well, a lion's got to eat, and zebra's on the menu. So no, I'm not angry at women at all for rejecting. No, I mean I'm a little bit disappointed that none of them give me a chance, but they're perfect. They're perfectly entitled to reject me. They don't owe me a relationship or anything. They owe me nothing. And they want the best possible genes for any offspring they may have with a particular man. It's definitely not going to happen with my subhuman genetics, but I'm cool with that. But then I don't care. I gave up on dating 14 years ago, so it doesn't bother me anymore. Yeah, but let's keep going.
Now, there might be some truth to that, but there's a lot of untruth to it.
No, there's a lot of truth to hypergamy. Hypergamy is not some tinfoil hat conspiracy theory. It's just a fact of life. It's a fact of life. Deal with it, Dr. Glover. Deal with it.
Women get with and stay with losers all the time.
No, they don't. They might hook up with a good-looking loser, but she's not going to stay with the guy because the good-looking loser is not going to be able to provide for her. Our good mate Richard Coper. So I'm just being sarcastic here. I can't stand that guy, but he did make one very good comment, and it was she plagiarized from somebody else. He said, "Women don't want to share your struggles; they just wait at the finish line and bang the winners." Yeah, he's totally right there. Totally right there. Women want winners. They want winners. They definitely don't want They definitely don't want losers. I mean, sometimes they do date losers, do date and marry losers, but no. Generally, women that they hate losers.
Right. So if they were all trading up, they'd be all trading up. And I think the whole hypergamy thing is just, guys' excuse for saying, yeah, she left me because she's hypergamous and left me for this other guy. Well, maybe you were on your phone all the time. Maybe you're on the internet all the time. Maybe you never paid any attention to her. Maybe you're shitty in bed.
Once again, Dr. Glover blaming men unfairly. That's no, sorry, Dr. Glover, you're wrong. You are so wrong. I resent that. And once again, I'm not going to cuss you out. But I find that comment extremely offensive. Extremely offensive. You are unfairly blaming men for something that's not their fault. Now they can try, and just for accusing a man for being crappy in bed? How do you know? Were you there in the bedroom observing him making love to his wife and girlfriend for you to say that? How would you know? And what if the wife sucked in bed? Sorry, no pun intended. There are some women who are no good in bed. But no, you've got to blame the man. Blame the man. I think this Dr. Glover, he's a number of things. He's a simp, he's a white knight, and he's a mangina. Yep, yep. The woman's always right, and the man's always, it's always the man's fault. It's always the man's fault. No, Dr. Glover, it's not always the man's fault. Sometimes it could be the man's fault. Sometimes it could be the woman's fault. Maybe both people are at fault. But I resent the fact that by default, you blame men. Sorry, Dr. Glover, you are wrong. Totally wrong. And women trade up. And even if they get a Chad, they want to be happy with the Chad and get bored of the Chad and go get another Chad. My close in-law friend, Man Overboard, who recommended me the topic suggestion for this video, he's good mates with a professional surfer, and this guy's a Chad. He's 6'4", full head of hair, part-time model, and he's also a surfing instructor. And in many of the relationships that this surfing instructor was in, the woman cheated on him, and this guy's a Chad. So even Chads aren't immune to be cheated on or being dumped, because women are never happy. Like my late father said, may he rest in peace, no matter what you do for a woman or how well you do it, women are never happy. They always want to trade up. Even if they land the rich giga Chad, they'll get bored of the Chad. They want a new Chad. Same way a little kid gets bored of a toy. Say a kid gets a new toy for its birthday or for Christmas. Okay, the kid plays with it obsessively with it for a little while, but what eventually happens? The kid gets bored of the toy, chucks it in the cupboard. I want a new toy. The kid gets I don't know, they get a game console. They might get a Nintendo. Oh, I don't like this anymore. I want an Xbox. Oh, I'm bored of the Xbox. I want a PS5. I'm sick of the PS5. I want a gaming PC. You know what I'm getting. You know what I'm getting at. And women do the same thing with men, even if they land that Chad. They use the Chad as a toy. They get bored of the toy. They want a new toy. Anyway, let's carry on.
But it's their fault because they're hypergamous. And I just have never really bought into the whole hypergamy thing.
Because you're an idiot. You're blue-pilled. I mean, it's I don't know what to say.
Well, then you got black pill. I'll go from red pill to black pill. Now, I haven't really studied the black pill, but my big...
Maybe you should, mate. Study the BP. The BP is the truth. The truth will set you free.
Basic understanding of it is that they say that women are only attracted to men with status, money, and looks.
Yep, you bet. They're the three tenets of the BP. The dark pill. Yep. The ebony-colored one. The dark tablet. Yep. The BP. Yeah. Well, that's basically it. I'm sorry. I know it might be a very black and white way of looking at male-female relationships, particularly intimate relationships, but it is. They are the three things women are mainly drawn to: looks, money, and status. That's just a fact of life. That's the BP.
And if you don't have status, money, and looks, you're shit out of luck.
Yep, you bet. If you don't have any one of those three things, you are shit out of luck. I'm sorry, you are. It's cruel, but life isn't fair.
Now, it sounds like a really good way to be a victim and a crybaby, and again, blame women for the fact that you don't get laid.
Okay, I resent that. I find that extremely offensive. Once again, I'm not going to cuss you out, Dr. Glover. You're a dickhead, mate. Seriously, you are an absolute dickhead. Once again, you're unfairly blaming men, particularly physically unattractive men, for something that's not their fault and completely out of their control. When a woman rejects you, when she says no, she means no. Okay, there's not much grey area or ambiguity in that word, right? She rejects you, fine. You accept it. You thank the woman for your time, and you walk away. You're not going to force yourself upon a woman. That carries a very long custodial prison sentence, apart from a horrible thing to do to a woman. right? She said no. She says no. That's it. Okay, it sucks. And obviously, that woman has she's perfectly entitled to knock you back. Absolutely, and that should be respected at all times. And I resent, and I resent the fact that you just shamed and blamed men for something that's not their fault and completely out of their control. Sorry, Dr. Glover, that was, I find that extremely offensive. Extremely offensive. That's why us men in the BP and equal committee, that's why we hate you guys. We hate you pickup artists and dating roaches. You're scum. You are absolute scum. You pretend that you want to help these guys. No, you don't. You're just after their money. You guys are scumbags. Scumbags of the highest order. Shame on you, Dr. Glover. Shame on you. And every other pickup artist and dating roach that unfairly blames unattractive men for something that's not their fault. Shame on you.
Now, the funny thing, but we'll come back to that. Now, the truth is, I'm not going to deny the fact that good-looking guys have a leg up.
Whoa, hang on a minute. Didn't at the start of the video you said, good-looking guys who can't get laid? You just contradicted yourself, and actually, Man Overboard and Big T brought that up. And well spotted too, to you guys. If you're watching this video, Man Overboard and Big T, thank you for pointing that out. Yeah, at the start of the video, you were saying that good-looking guys who can't get laid. Now you're saying they've got a leg up. Of course, they got a bloody leg up. They got a massive leg up. Yeah. Here's the thing with PUAs: they're guilty of two things: giving contradiction. They contradict themselves, and they talk with both sides of their mouths. They'll say one thing, but then they'll say something. Yeah, you know what I'm getting at.
Or the men with status have a leg up, or the guys with money.
Once again, you contradicted yourself, because at the start of the video you said you knew guys who had looks, money, and status and couldn't get laid and couldn't get a date. Now you're acknowledging that guys that do have LMS, they have that advantage. You contradicted yourself. You're talking out of both sides of your mouth.
Have a leg up. I'm not denying that.
Well, you did at the start of the video.
Okay. I remember I heard David Data years ago at a workshop, and he said, all right, a woman is standing in front of two men, and she has the choice of either man. They both, he said, had the looks of George Clooney. They both had the heart of Jesus. And one had the money of Bill Gates, and the other was the town pauper. Well, which one's she going to choose? Right. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, she'll pick the George Clooney lookalike, or guy looks like George Clooney with the Bill Gates money. Yeah, look, as much as I'm BP'd, the woman had a choice between two Chads. One was a broke Chad, or just a working class Chad, and one was a rich Chad. She'll pick the rich Chad. Yeah, I won't disagree with that.
Right. So I mean, it doesn't hurt to have status, looks, for money, but
not a matter of it doesn't hurt. They're critical. You've got to have those three things, or one of those three things at least. You've got to. That's not negotiable. Preferably all three. Looks, money, and status, but at least you've got to have one of those things to try and attract women. If you haven't got any of those three things, you are shit out of luck.
I think there's something deeper than that, and then that's what I want to get more into the weeds about it. The women's romance novels is usually about some strong, unavailable guy that she thinks is a jerk, or and she then she decides she's going to tame him, and then she pushes him away when she has him.
Yeah, and who's that guy? Who's going to be on those romance novels? If you look on the cover of those romance novels, it's always a Chad, some 6'4", 6'5" ripped guy with a full head of hair. A Chad. They're not going to put a picture of Danny DeVito there, are they? Or the Elephant Man? They're going to put a Chad, because that's what we're attracted to.
So they got the whole romance novel story. Years ago, when I first started looking at dating stuff, David D'Angelo, Eben Pagan is his real name, had a program called Double Your Dating. It may
No, it's not double your dating, it's double your rejection. Yeah, David D'Angelo, as I call him, David the Anus Hole, real name Eben Pagan. He was one of the first guys to come out there. I think he was one of the first guys in the PUA industry, along with who else was his Mystery, Neil Strauss, RSD. Yeah, made quite a bit of money. This David D'Angelo or David the Anus Hole. Yeah, he had this thing called Cocky Funny. Basically, he's telling them to Gestamax. I remember watching a video he did. It was a promotional video that he was doing, and he claimed that once he learned game and PUA bullshit, that he was able to date hot-looking women. And then you saw the guy that you saw, not the guy, sorry, you saw the woman that he eventually married. And let me tell you, yeah, nothing to look at. This woman, I'd barely give her a 3 out of 10. Anorexic, no boobs, no ass. She wasn't attractive. Yet this David D'Angelo guy, or David the Anusole, he's telling us that he's dated models and actresses. Yeah, yeah, right, buddy. We believe you. And it's the same across all these PUAs and dating rages. They say, oh, yeah, I can teach you how to seduce hot women, yet they marry average-looking women. Yes, something doesn't stack up here. Something doesn't pass the smell test. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, just on David the anus hole, and he's double your rejection. Yeah, no, it was a scam. But he made a lot of money out of it. I believe at one stage his net worth was about $20 million. So he did pretty good. He did pretty well out of it. Yeah, and I remember reading his website. I was surfing his website once when he's still in the industry, and he was clever. Like, I mean, he's a grifter, but he's a clever grifter. So I remember he put this little legal disclaimer at the bottom of the website. Oh, this is for entertainment purposes only. I think he put there so he doesn't get sued. So he's a grifter, but he's a clever one. But anyway, that's enough about David the Anusole and double your rejection.
Still exist. And his tagline was, attraction is not a choice. Now, I actually believe that there's a lot of truth to that. And I think attraction can be based on a lot of evolutionary factors, which that's what I want to talk with you about today. It can be based on cultural factors of what's valued in certain cultures. We can be attracted to people that we unconsciously feel like let us play familiar roles or have familiar experiences. Like, I'm amazingly attracted to unhappily married women. I've given a couple of them the go. And over time, I found out, they never got happy.
Oh, so you slept with a married woman, eh? Oh, what a nice guy you are. Sorry, being sarcastic. That's a scummy thing to do. It really is. I mean, I've never tried to hit on a married woman or a woman that's in a relationship. I can't even attract a single woman, let alone a woman. But look, even if I could, I wouldn't do it out of principle. You know what I mean? But you often hear stories of men, and they find out their best mate, or should I say their former best mate, is sleeping with his wife. Yeah, I couldn't do that. That's just wrong. That's wrong on so many levels. But yeah, anyway. But if this guy slept with a married woman, yeah, what a douchebag.
And then they were just unhappy with me, like all the other men they'd been unhappy with. Well, my first love object, my mother, was an unhappily married woman. And I spent a good chunk of my life trying to make her happy. Probably I still do to some degree. So I'm drawn to that. I can tell if a woman is unhappy from her previous relationships. I'm drawn to it. So I think attraction can play out from those familiar roles. I think, however we related to mother and father, those affects what we're attracted to in adulthood. So there's a lot of things that go into it. I was even just thinking today, if you grew up in a Jewish culture, for women, are there certain things in men that are considered highly attractive that would be totally different in a Mexican culture? That would be totally different in an Indian culture. That would be totally different in American culture, right? So, I'm thinking in Jewish culture, the women are attracted to the guy who's highly intelligent and highly educated and comes from a wealthy family. That's probably a good guy to get. Doesn't matter if he's that good looking or athletic. Mexican culture, some of you are going to have to help me on this one. My guess is that women are attracted to the most unavailable men. The biggest philanderers seem to be the ones that they're most turned on by.
Look, women are attracted to Chad, or any other type of good-looking guy. Tyrone. What do they call Hispanic Chad? Like a Javier or a Carlos? What's a good-looking Asian guy called? A Chang? Or Middle Eastern guy is a Chadam? Or an Abdul? But look, regardless, regardless of what part of the world he comes from, women are attracted to tall, handsome guys. That's just the way it is.
It's part of macho culture. Indian culture might be a totally different thing. If he's not a doctor or an engineer, don't bring him home to meet the family. It's just a whole different thing there. And then, American culture. Anybody in American culture know what the fuck women are looking for? Maybe as long as he's willing to sign up for everything being 50-50 in the relationship, and they get to be the one who determines what's 50-50. I don't know. I guess I'm just kind of pondering some of this stuff. All right, but my real question is, let's get down in the weeds. Is there something beneath all of that? Something else beneath all of that? Something else Mother Nature wired into women that is consistent across time and across culture?
Yeah, once again, LMS. And just going back to different cultures and stuff, look, regardless of where a woman comes from, regardless of what part of the world she comes from, women are women. They all have eyes. And, if you want genuine attraction from a woman, you've got to pass that looks test, regardless of where she comes from. I remember when I was much younger, people would often tell me, "Oh, Master Yoda, why don't you go over to Southeast Asia and find yourself a wife?" I said, "Look, if I'm an inkwell here in Australia, I'm going to be an inkwell everywhere else in the world." Once again, women, regardless of where they come from in the world, have eyes, and you don't pass the looks test. Came over, and look, I suppose theoretically, if I had the money, well, I don't. But even if I had the money, yeah, I could beta bucks some mail order bride in Southeast Asia, but you're not getting genuine attraction. And if you're gonna do that, you might as well just pay for play. Because I've heard a lot of horror stories about Western guys, simps going over Southeast Asia and absolutely getting wrecked. They thought they're marrying some traditional woman, and she was far from traditional. Now look, I'm not saying that all Southeast Asian women are bad. No, absolutely not. There's some wonderful women there who Western guys have been lucky to marry. They've also got some sneaky ones there too. They've got some bad ones there too, and some Western guys, Western simps, have learned the hard way. They've gone to Thailand and the Philippines and been completely cleaned out. But no, once again, women are women, regardless of where they come from in the world. They've all got eyes. You've got to pass that looks test if you want to get genuine attraction. But I mean, in lieu of looks, it's obviously prior to feminism and the sexual revolution, women couldn't be as picky who they married because they relied on men for resources. So women couldn't be as picky. But now that women make their own money, they're more picky now. They don't have to rely on a man for his resources. They can make their own money. So women are more pickier now. In the past, they couldn't be as picky because they relied on the man's resources. Anyway.
Now, I remember some of you, do you remember when I had Orion Taliban on the call here? And we talked about high value, and he's got a book, The Value of...
That guy's a psychiatrist. Actually, I did a reaction video on my old channel to one of his videos. Yeah, I might pull up that guy again. He's a psychologist. Yeah, no. I don't think too much of the guy.
Others, and after this really long introductory chapter, he basically gets to the reality that men are attracted to Barbie, the Barbie doll, and women are attracted to Ken.
Well, yeah, of course, because Barbie's a Stacy and Ken's a Chad. Well, no shit, Sherlock. How long did it take you to work that out?
And I asked him, couldn't you just have said that and that'd be enough for the book? Now, the part about men being attracted to Barbie, that's pretty easy to figure out, right? Are there any of us that don't understand what that's about? We're attracted to her physicality, her curves, her height, her looks, her hair. She's pretty.
Well, no shit, Sherlock, obviously.
Right? She has a physicalness that we men are turned on by. We're turned on by those curves in women. But why is Barbie turned on by Ken?
Because he's a Chad. Do you think they're going to put a doll that looks like Danny DeVito? Do you think women are going to be attracted to that? Of course not. So Ken has to be a good-looking dude. I think once again this Dr. Glover PUA dude. I think he smells of PUA. I think he's trying to make out that men are the more visual gender. No, that well, we're not. We're not. I mean, yes, as men we do value beauty in a woman, absolutely. But overall, when you look at what goes on in the real world of dating, it's actually women who are the more visual gender. And look, and for good scientific reasons. And I'm not hating on women because of that. Obviously, a woman when she sees a man for the first time, she wants, she wants to pass on the best possible genes to any offspring she may have with that man. So that man needs to be tall, handsome, what have you. So women are actually more visual than men. And once again, I'm not hating on them; they're just acting on their biology. But once again, Dr. Glover here, along with the other PUA, they try and downplay that. No, no, women are extremely visual, and for good scientific reasons.
That might be a little bit more complex.
No, it's not complex. Once again, LMS, looks, money, status. Come on, Dr. Glover, you can work it, work it out. It's not hard.
Is it because he's good looking or has
Well, yeah, obviously.
a tuxedo or a sports car? Is it his money? Is it his toys? Is it the adventures he could take her on? It's not quite as clear as why we men are turned on by Barbie.
No, it is clear. Once again, women are just as visual as men are. Actually, they're more visual. One thing I've seen a lot, I've seen Chads date down, and it's I've seen it on a quite fairly regular basis. I'll give you some examples. I used to work out at this gym, and after I did a session, I was and I had my shower. There was a sofa outside the gym where you could sit down, and I was sitting there, and I saw this couple walk past. And this guy, he was a Chad, no homo, and he was tall. Oh my God, he was well over 2 meters tall. I reckon. Oh, he would have been close to 7 foot. And I'm not joking. I'm not exaggerating. He was a thin build, but he had Chad face. This guy must have been 6'10". Oh, he was tall, and he was holding hands with this woman who was barely 5 foot. It was funny because when they were holding hands, you could see her neck was tilted right up, trying to look at him, and his head was right down. But in terms of height, they were totally mismatched, and looks as well. Because whilst he was no homo, pretty good looking dude. His girlfriend was average. I'd rate her a 5 out of 10. I mean, she was barely passable, barely. So she was trading up big time. Another time I saw these two Chads holding hands with some overweight women. Now they weren't ugly per se, but they were overweight, and they're holding hands with Chads. Men will date down. Men aren't the visual ones. We're not. Now, men value other things in a woman aside from we rate looks. I'm not saying we don't. We do, but not as much as women do. I mean, a man may theoretically meet a woman. She might not be that physically attractive, but she might have a really awesome personality, and that draws that woman to that man. He meets her. Okay, she might be that pretty, but her personality might just blow this guy away, and the guy goes, "Wow, what a personality this chick's got." Or she could be great in bed, like she might not be the best looking, but she might give him dynamite sex. So no, it's actually women who are the more visual gender, not men.
Okay, so here's my proposition, that beneath all of this, it is the perception of a man's options and his ability to freely choose from his options that makes him attractive to a woman.
No, it's his looks that make him attracted to him, and that gives him his options, not his perception of options. What cope is this? What pseudo psychological crap is this guy going on about? I think what he's alluding to or about to allude to is this abundance mindset. Yeah, a lot of PUAs push this shit. If you have this mindset that you have abundance, oh, women will be attracted to you. Okay, first of all, we have to look at what the word abundance means. I think by its very definition, it means to have a lot of something, to have plenty of something, to have a lot of it. Yeah, if you can't even attract one woman, how are you supposed to attract multiple groups of women? It's ridiculous. I'll tell you what gives you options as a man. If you've got a ton of LMS, particularly more so looks. If you've got tons of LMS, yeah, you're gonna have options. Once again, mostly looks. Yeah, Chad's gonna have options, and he doesn't have to perceive that he has options. He knows he has those options because of all the positive reinforcement and validation he gets from women. But if you're not an attractive guy, you've got no options. I mean, I've got no options. Never have, never will. I'm sub 3. I have 0 options. None. Not even ugly women that want anything to do with me. That's fair enough. Yeah. But I've made peace with that. And there's lots of other physically unattractive guys that no matter what they do, no matter what self-work they do, they'll never be attractive. They'll never have a meaningful relationship with a woman because of their looks. And that's not their fault. That's not their fault. And I resent how this Dr. Glover guy blames guys like us. Hey, and then calls us victims. Screw you, Dr. Glover. You're an arsehole and you're a douchebag. Right? You haven't stepped in my shoes. Yeah, walk in my shoes for a day and see how women react to you. And let me tell you, it's not going to be very positive. And for you to blame guys like us, no, mate, not on. It's not on. So that's a great thing about the BP. We give men that comfort and reassurance that their lack of luck with women and life in general, but particularly with women, is not their fault, and not to blame themselves. But at the same time, too, not to hate on women either, because at the end of the day, women are just acting on their biology, right? But you get arseholes like this guy and all the other PUAs and dating roaches unfairly blaming unattractive men for something that's not their fault and completely out of their control. You can't cheat your genetics. Yeah, sure, you can try and looks max. But unfortunately, there are some guys, like me, for example, who are just so physically unattractive, no amount of looks maxing will help them. I mean, obviously, it was good for guys like I said, and yeah, good luck to the guy. I'm happy for him. But he had a base to work with. He wasn't that bad looking to begin with. He was, I suppose you call him average looking. He did some looksy maxing and he got himself to a Chad, and now he's killing it. And yeah, good luck to the guy. He's absolutely doing really well with women. Yeah, good on him. But there are guys at the other end. No matter what self improvement they'll do, they're just too unattractive. And that's guys like me. But I've made peace with that fact. But once again, I resent and I find it extremely offensive how Dr. Glover's blaming guys like this. Nah, not on, mate. It's just not on.
My premise is that a man with lots of options, now that could come from being good looking.
Well, no shit, Sherlock. In other breaking news, scientists have discovered that water is wet and fire is hot. Jeez. This guy's not the sharpest tool in the shed.
It could come from having money. It could come from having status.
Well, of course. Once again, LMS. Men who have lots of LMS have got options. That's just the way it is. And guys that don't have that have no options. I have no options, but I've accepted that. And I'm aware of that. Look, one thing I pride myself in, and I'm not saying this to sound arrogant, because I'm not an arrogant person, far from it. I'm very self-aware. I have a lot of self-awareness. I know that no women want me, and that's why I don't approach them anymore. So I know they're just going to reject me. I'm just going to creep them out, and so I don't bother them because I'm self-aware. I'm very self-aware, and I don't pretend to be something that I'm not. I've never been a womanizer. I can't even get one woman, let alone multiple groups of women. I know I have no options, but I admit that, and I'm humble enough to admit that.
It could come from having power, but it can come from a lot of other things as well.
No, it's LMS. As a man, if you have options, you've got to have one of those 3 things, preferably looks, or preferably all 3, but looks is the main thing. If you want options with regards to hooking up with women, it's looks. Sorry, it is.
It's a man's options, his awareness of his options, and his ability and willingness to make choices of his options while not sacrificing significantly his other options and ability to choose.
But at the end of the day, it's women who do the choosing when it comes to male-female intimate relationships, not men. This is what pickup artists and dating coaches get horribly wrong. It's women who are the choosers, and they always have been the choosers and always will be the choosers. When it comes to male-female intimate relationships, women are the choosers. They play judge, jury, and executioner on your sexual market value. If you do not pass that looks test with a woman, game over. You're done. Forget about it. Obviously, you can have money and status, but the main thing is looks. I'm sorry, it is. If you want to get raw, genuine attraction from women, it is based on your genetics and your looks. That's just the way it is. And those are the guys going to have options. Not average and below average looking guys. Those guys have got little to no options.
A man with options, I believe, is a high status man. It is a man that women are naturally going to be attracted to and drawn to.
And that's going to be Chad.
Now, the thing is, what gives a man options is a lot more complex than just money, status, and looks.
No, it isn't. It's very straightforward. That's the great thing about the BP. It simplifies all that stuff. Once again, the three things women are attracted to: LMS, looks, money, status. Look, as a man, even if you're not that attractive, you could theoretically meet a woman who takes you for who you are, even though she may not be that attracted to you physically. You might have a personality or characteristic that she finds attractive. Yeah, look, you could meet a woman like that, and sometimes unattractive guys do meet women like that, but those women are rare, and they get snapped up very quickly. They're very, very rare, and as an unattractive man, you've got to be extremely lucky to meet one of those women. Look, and sometimes it does happen, but it's no. You probably got more chance of winning the lottery than meeting a woman like that. Yeah.
believe. Okay. And that's the part, that's getting, down in the weeds. So I believe, again, it's a number of options, not as you have money or have good looks. I've known good looking guys that couldn't get a date and couldn't get laid. I've known guys with money that couldn't get a date and couldn't get laid. I've known guys with status that couldn't get a date and couldn't get laid.
Once again, bullshit. And he's contradicted himself. In the middle of the video, he said, "Oh yeah, guys who've got looks, money, and status have got a leg up." And now he's flip-flopped again. He's flip-flopped. This guy has no self-awareness. He really doesn't. He just contradicted himself. Okay, on the looks thing, look, once again, if a good-looking guy has some kind of severe mental issue or he's got bad Asperger's or autism, yeah, that's going to make dating hard. I'll agree with that. But most good-looking guys, they don't have mental issues. They don't have Asperger's. They just put themselves out there. Women give them the choosing signals, and the rest is history. And with money and status, nah. Look, if you've got tons of LMS, particularly looks, you're not going to struggle with dating. You won't. This guy's talking shit.
And I've known short guys, broke guys, and guys with little dicks who are chick magnets.
Bullshit. Short guys are chick repellents, not chick magnets. I'm short and I'm a chick repellent. I'm definitely not a chick magnet. I wish I was, but I'm definitely not. Look, if said short guy's got a really good looking face, yeah, he'll be a chick magnet. Broke guys, yeah, if he's a good looking broke guy, yeah, he'll hook up with a lot of women, but he won't be able to keep relationships with them because he won't be able to support their lifestyle because he's broke. But he'll hook up with a lot of women. Like I said before in the video, my friend Man Overboard, who gave me the topic suggestion to do this video, he's friends with. I'm not sure if he's still friends with him now, but he was friends with a good-looking but chronically unemployed guy. This guy's been unemployed for decades. He lives on welfare. He gets a lot of women. Yeah, he has a lot of hookups, but he can't hang on to these women because the women say, "Oh well, okay, he's good looking, but he can't support me. He hasn't got a job." So those broke guys will do okay with him. But if he's got the looks, but generally speaking, short guys, broke guys, no, they're going to struggle with women and struggle with them badly. So once again, Dr. Glover's talking shit.
What's the difference? What's happening there? I heard a story years ago, and I don't know if this is true, but long before Donald Trump became president. And I think it's when it was a period where he built like his casinos in New Jersey, and somewhere along the line, he just took a bath. He was deep in debt, right? And the story I heard, again, this is long before he became president, was that he was walking through Manhattan with his girlfriend at the time. I think it was Marla Maples. And there was a drunk guy, a bum, passed out in a doorway on a street in Manhattan. And he's walking with his girlfriend. And he looks at this drunk guy passed out in a doorway, and he says, that guy's worth 200 million more than I am right now. You get it? He was $200 million in debt. A drunk guy passed out in a doorway was worth more than him. But if you had to venture a guess, who still had more options? It was probably the Donald.
Of course, he's got status. Look, even before Donald Trump became president of the United States, yeah, he was a pretty famous guy. He had a ton of status. So, yeah, of course he's going to have options because of his status. No shit, Sherlock. Tell us something we don't know.
At $200 million in debt. So not even just the things we like, it's not just the money, not just that. Now, again, there's always a lot of different factors coming in, but I'm going to hone in for the rest of this lesson that it's a number of options and choices that give a man that what women want. The Ken factor.
Yeah, Ken has options because he's good looking. And same with Chads. They got options because obviously look at all the positive reinforcement and validation they get from women. So they know they've got options. They know they're going to be picked by women. They've got options. But once again, average and worse still, below average looking guys have little to no options. And if you're below average looking, you've got zero options. I've got no options. I'm sub 3. Sub 3, I've got. And I never did have any options. But I've made peace with that.
Now, it might not even be how many choices a man has, but how willing he is to even choose them. Because you know what? That's why I did that meditation today. We probably have a lot more options to us, a lot more choices we can make that we don't even notice. We don't even see.
No, you don't. Look, this is where men have got to develop some self-awareness. Like I've got a ton of self-awareness. I'm very self-aware. I know I've got no options, right? I don't know what this guy. I think once again he's pushing that abundance mindset cope that a lot of pickup artists and dating roaches like to push. How can you have an abundance mindset when you can't even get one woman? How can you get plenty of women when you can't even get one? It makes no sense. I think it's probably one of those toxic things that the self-help industry pushes. Not just PUAs and dating roaches. You know, Tony Robbins, the people who wrote that stupid book, The Secret. There's this idea that if you think positive things will happen to you, or they will just because you think they will. Life doesn't work that way. That's very toxic because what you're doing is you're giving people false hope based on blind optimism. That's toxic because if those hopes are not realized, or if those hopes don't materialize, the people who believe in this nonsense are going to crash and burn very hard. My close friend, once again, Man Overboard, he knew someone that got heavily involved in the Tony Robbins stuff. Oh yeah, you know, positive power, positive thinking, yeah, you know, woohoo, you know, pop psychology, pop positivity, whatever you want to call it. And when their goals and ambitions didn't materialize, they crashed and burned very hard. You're not going to be successful at something just because you think you'll be successful. No, you actually have to be successful. You know, you actually got to be successful at something. Yeah. You just can't think that you're going to be successful. Life doesn't work that way.
Or we don't even believe we could pick from. So, as much as anything, it's not even just our options and choices in life. I'm not talking just about even options and choices of women. I'm just talking about options and choices in life.
Yeah, but with women, you're not the chooser. Women are the choosers when it comes to male-female intimate relationships. Sorry to say this. Sorry to repeat this for the 100th time. Women are the choosers. They play judge, jury, and executioner on your sexual market value. If you do not pass that looks test with a woman, game over. It doesn't matter how good your social skills are or your conversations or what mind games you can play with women. If she's not physically attracted to you, she's going to reject you, and she will reject you. You can't. And other things in life. I mean, I think a lot of that comes down to luck and genetics. Absolutely. I mean, take for example Bill Gates, the founder of Microsoft. Now, look, don't get me wrong. I'm not attacking the guy. Not hating on him. Brilliant businessman. Super wealthy, obviously. One of the richest men in the world. But he had a lot of luck because he came from a powerful, well-connected family. Bill Gates was not a rags to riches story. He had a ton of rich people behind him. Same deal with Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon. Once again, brilliant businessman, not hating on the guy, very successful, good for him. But he also too came from a powerful, wealthy, connected family. He was not a rags to riches story. So a lot of these successful, not just with women. Obviously, with women, you need to be born with good genes to be successful with them. But other things in life too. A lot of it's genetic. It is. You see like a talented musician, and you look at their parents. Their parents are also musicians, so probably some of that God-given talent was passed on to their kids. I mean, can I prove that definitively? It's a difficult thing to prove, but I think genes do play a part. If you had really smart parents, chances are they're going to have really smart kids. Not necessarily, but there's a good chance they will. So not just luck with women, which depends on the genes you were born with, but I think luck and other things in life. Success in other aspects of life does come down to luck to a pretty large degree. Yeah, absolutely. And what's the definition of luck? An unexplained phenomenon that leads to a favorable outcome.
Okay. I believe it's our ability to see those options and choices that makes the feminine sit up and take notice of us. And we have to have the freedom and willingness to choose and walk through those open doors and keep those choices and options.
But how are you going to walk through that door if the bloody thing gets shut in your face? Once again, if you approach a woman or cold approach a woman and she's not attracted to you, you're not going to be walking for an open door, mate. You're going to have that door shut you're going to have that door slammed in your face, big time.
Available even after we've walked through an open door and maybe made one significant choice. There's value in making sure we don't close a multitude of other doors because we walked through this door. Okay, am I making sense so far? I'm going to get a little bit more.
No, not really.
More specific, but I just want to kind of lay the basic premise here. Okay. Now, the truth is, choosing one thing always does eliminate the ability to choose X number of other things. Like if I choose to go to Florida for my vacation, that rules out me going to Connecticut on that same vacation. Okay. But can I choose to go to Florida on vacation and still leave as many options as possible open while taking that trip to Florida? Okay. Now, as you can see, when it comes to women, can we even choose a particular woman and still leave as many options open and available as possible, even having chosen a woman?
The only guys who can do that are Chads and Giga Chads. But then again, they have to be chosen by those women. But I mean, if you're in that situation, whether you're a Chad or a Giga Chad, yeah, obviously you've got a choice of options. But that's just because of your looks. But if you're not Chad or Giga Chad, or worse still, if you're average to below average looking, you're going to have no options to choose from because no woman's picking you. Yeah. Once again, this Dr. Glover's going on with a lot of nonsense. Anyway, guys, that concludes my reaction video to Dr. Rubber Glove. Oops, I meant Dr. Glover. And once again, a very big thank you to Man Overboard for this topic suggestion. Please check out his reaction video, which I'll provide a link for, and Big TV T82's reaction. He's also done a reaction too as well. They've probably done a better job than what I've done. Yeah, please check out their channels and have a look at their videos. They're great guys, and they've got great channels. Yeah, look, thanks guys for listening to my video. Yeah, sorry if I've rambled on a bit. If you'd like to leave your likes, comments, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. You guys have a great day. Bye for now.